What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with the RK Outpost, and for weeks now, Marvel has been extremely consistent about the way they've been promoting Eternals. It's been about diversity, representation, and inclusion. Very little about the substance of this actual movie. And they've said all along how important it was to them to show these types of things on screen. And Chloe Zhao came out and said, we don't want them to censor anything in this movie. People talked about how important the first gay kiss was, that it was groundbreaking, how important it was to show this to people all around the world. They even talked about the first MCU sex scene and why it was groundbreaking, why it was important to show everyone this. And then we heard that it started to get banned from certain countries. We saw from Deadline, Eternals won't be playing in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Oman. Same thing from Hollywood Reporter, pulled from these places in an apparent ban. Angelina Jolie came out and said they're just ignorant if they don't want this. Everyone saw all this go down and said, you know what? Maybe for once, they're actually going to practice what they're preaching. All this stuff about diversity and representation, when it comes to the international releases, so often they cut it out. They cut gay kiss scenes out. They cut things like this out because they want to make money. Maybe Marvel is actually so down this rabbit hole that they don't care about the money anymore, and they actually just want to put the movie out the way it is. Well, hidden in a couple of these reports were something that a lot of us missed. And as it turns out, Disney is in fact censoring things from this movie. Not only are they censoring the first sex scene from Marvel's Eternals, but they're also censoring the first gay kiss throughout several countries in the Middle East. After all that virtue signaling, after all that talk from Chloe Zhao and from other people, it looks like Disney's doing exactly what we thought they would do. They are going to censor this movie because they need the money, especially with what it looks how the Eternals box office is going to shape up. They probably need every dollar they can get. Disney removes Eternals sex scenes in international markets. The Age of Eternals is here. The Chloe Zhao directed MCU epic just hit theaters and has the world talking about it, for better or worse. The film has received a largely lackluster critical response, becoming Marvel Studios' lowest-ranked movie on Rotten Tomatoes. And of course, they go back to the review bombing, which was an absolute joke. We've talked about that on this channel before. Another first for the project is the introduction of sex scenes within the MCU. Chloe Zhao has spoken about this movie having the first true love story of the franchise, and that is evident in Icarus and Circe's late-night escapade. This carnal outing, along with Phastos' sexuality, has gotten the film in some hot water internationally. It has been banned in certain markets because of this material, with Disney denying requests to censor the project. Well, it seems an edited version of the film will see the light of day in some markets, but not others. Eternals gets censored. According to Deadline, an edited version of Eternals will release in various Middle Eastern markets like Egypt, Lebanon, Jordan, and the United Arab Emirates. This censored cut will remove any instances of intimacy, whether they be hetero or gay. This practice is common in these markets. And I'm looking at this, I'm like, what? How did we not hear about this? Because all that we've heard is that Marvel's sticking by their guns. They're not going to cut anything out. They're proud of this first sex scene. They're proud of this first gay kiss, and it's so special. Everyone needs to see this on screen, or else the world will end. That's basically been the talk and the way that it's been promoted. So with all this talk out there, the idea that they were actually going to censor anything in this movie comes as a little bit of a surprise to me. I was like, how did we not hear about that? Well, if you do look at this Deadline article, it is in there because this is the direct. This is kind of a shit site, to be honest with you. You really got to check their work sometimes, but they did source it as Deadline. And I looked all the way down through this Deadline article, and in fact, it does tell you exactly that. In the United Arab Emirates, Jordan, Lebanon, and Egypt, we understand that a version of this film will be released that removes all scenes of intimacy, be they heterosexual or homosexual. This is generally normal practice for these markets. Hey, it's normal. That's normal to do stuff like that. I agree, it is. But this movie's been marketed as not normal. This movie has been marketed as the only reason you need to care about it is because of the representation, because of the diversity, because of the inclusion. And if you don't see a gay character kiss another gay character, the world could end. That means something to someone. Evidently, Disney and Marvel are very much willing to cut it out when it means they get to make money. So let's read through this entire article so you can kind of see what they decided to cut and what they didn't decide to cut. Eternals won't be playing in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Oman. The anticipated robust box office of Disney's Marvel's Eternals will definitely not have Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, or Oman in its future release plans. Eternals was originally scheduled to open in the region on November 11th. While official reasons weren't provided, here's our understanding of what went down. In Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and Oman, the censors were seeking further cuts beyond any scenes of intimacy, and that Disney opted not to make the edits. Hence, distribution certificates weren't issued. So they did agree to cut a lot. They agreed to cut a lot from this movie, any scenes of intimacy, right? As we said before. What I think they didn't want to cut was the entirety of the gay relationship in general. So not even show Fastos and his husband at all in any way interacting. That's probably the cut that they wanted, and that's where Disney said, well, that's too far, because if we do that, we're really going to be in hot water. But they absolutely did decide to cut some things, because at the end of the day, as much as they're going to talk about things like this, Eternals actor says the crew cried on set while filming the MCU's first gay kiss. They've talked about this so much and how important it was for them, as well as the first sex scene, and for some reason how important that was to them. As much as they preach about this stuff, at the end of the day, when it comes down to getting a movie released in a market, they're going to cut a lot of this stuff out, because in actuality, they want your money. They want a virtue signal really hard, but then they're okay with cutting out so much of that virtue signaling when it comes to trying to make a buck. So it does look like, after all this talk, Chloe Zhao, right, saying, my fingers crossed, are about Marvel not censoring this movie. I hope they don't do it. I don't want them to do it. She was very outspoken about that. Well, Chloe, it looks like you're not going to get your wish, because this is Marvel. This is Disney. These people are absolutely enormous hypocrites. They want to talk a big game, but at the end of the day, we see what happens. I guess you could give them credit for not cutting the entire gay thing if you want. If you want to go out of your way to try to give Disney credit for something like that, if you want to go out of your way to give Marvel credit, well, there you have it. I think they just realized the backlash would be far too big after all the virtue signaling they did to get the couple $1 million out of those overseas markets. But I'm interested in what you guys think about this stuff. The fact that Disney is indeed censoring this movie for international release after all of the virtue signaling. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.